The only thing harder than getting yourself into the imperial throne is staying there. That's exactly where Justinian finds himself. Having just become emperor of the Byzantine Empire, his primary focus as an aging man is to build up the realm, get back some stability, and critically make sure that his son Georgios is the one to succeed him. Not everyone is happy with their new emperor, particularly other long-established, powerful families are already starting factions to get themselves back in control. Justinian must fix the economy, the army, deal with factions, make sure his son is his successor, and he has also inherited a war with the Abbasids. Lots of challenges are on the horizon for Justinian in order to make sure that his family stays where he has put them. Alright, we are the Emperor of the Byzantine Empire, and there is lots to do. First of all, we're over our domain limit. We also hold too many duchies, because we still hold Achaia, the actual theme that we controlled before assuming power of the empire. Now, the other duchies we have are Thrace, and what is the other one, actually? We have Thrace and Athens over here. Actually, why do we have Athens? That's an even better question. I don't actually know. We need to sort all of this out. We also then have lots of notifications to go through, and then we will need to shore up our position. We're going to want to make sure that we deal with these factions that are not too scary at the moment, but this one could grow to become out of control rather soon. Since we have too many duchies or themes in this instance, I think we'll give Athens away. We don't control a lot of it. I mean, actually holding Athens is quite nice with this temple here, but we can't take everything. And realistically, we already have arguably the best place in the whole game with Constantinople, and that should counter the bonuses we would get from Athens otherwise. Yeah, look at this. Theodosian walls plus 10 tax a month. Thank you very much. Okay, after giving Athens away, we now control all of Thrace, including Constantinople, and all of Achaia, which we previously held, and the counties within it. So I can't move my estate over to Constantinople yet, because we are currently at war with the Abbasids. This was not a war I started, it's one we have inherited. If we look at the strength, we have 1,000 men versus their 11,000. Now, we really didn't care about war at all when we were just a governor. Now that we are an emperor, though, outside of maintaining the realm, it's going to be our main focus. When it comes to how we wage war, though, it's going to be slightly different. Because we're the emperor, we do have up to 5 men-at-arms that we can just hold as our standing army. Then we have men-at-arms purely for the theme of Achaia, which we control, and Thrace that we control as well. Then we have other armies here. These are the armies in our themes, and we can actually call upon any of these armies using, you guessed it, influence. Now at the moment, we don't actually have a lot of influence. We used a considerable amount of it actually getting ourselves onto the throne, so we can't exactly spend a ton to buff out our armies here. Similarly, we haven't been the emperor long enough to actually build up tons of gold and build out our army, so they're not really in full fighting condition either. Because of that, I'm actually going to white peace out of this war. Thankfully, we're 56% of the way there already. I just don't really want to risk trying to finish off this war, spending my influence and all of my gold, only for it to possibly not fire in time before I either die, which is a real worry, I am 60 and in poor health, or the factions just get too strong and then they come and fight me when I'm too busy fighting the enemy. So for now, we're going to white peace out of this war. We will be coming back to them though. We're going to have to fight practically everybody we border in order to get our true goal of restoring the Roman Empire. Wallachia is offering us 125 gold for a truce for 15 years. I am more than happy to accept that. The primary goal for Justinian here currently is really going to be to make sure that his family remain in control. He's 60 and in poor health. When he dies, we want to make sure that Georgios becomes the emperor. We'll have a young emperor, lots of time on the throne to actually build out our strength. And then when we have everything locked in from an economy perspective and don't need to worry about things inside of the realm anymore, then we can go all in on outward warfare. Having said that, I don't think we'll ever be in a place where we don't have to worry about what's going on in the realm at all. We saw how through sheer chance we ended up in prime position to take the throne. We're going to need to be very careful how we progress. Now, I've moved my estate over to the capital as well, so we get the bonuses there. Next up is the actual succession. So currently, obviously, in first place is Antonios the Bald, the man that we actually took the throne off of. Second place is the man that we leapfrogged in the order of succession when we were going for the Empire. He was previously first in line. He now hates us and is in a faction against us, which is not great. Third is somebody else who just is from a powerful family with lots of investments. And then sixth is our actual son. Now, he's debuffed being a adolescent. That should go away in time, but we're going to want to make sure that we get our influence up again and possibly even some more schemes so we solidify our family's control here. Now, in terms of Antonios the Bald, we could just execute him. We'd gain a little bit of dread and his close family would lose opinion of us, but there's no tyranny here that we'd really need to worry about. This could be the best option. Alternatively, we could do something else. We could disfigure him, we could blind him, we could castrate him. Lots of options to choose from, as well as just asking him to renounce claims and whatnot. He is a risk, though. I think realistically, having taken the throne from this man through what was essentially a series of schemes, leaving him alive could be too dangerous. For now, Antonios the Bald is going to be executed by us. He is too much of a risk to be left alive. Now, with him gone, it shortens the gap of us making sure that Georgios is next in line here. Now, one thing we can do eventually is actually elevate Georgios to be our co-emperor. This will put us in I believe that's duumvirate. And what this essentially means is that we'll both generate passive influence for themselves and in their senior emperor, in this case me. It'll scale every 5 years in the job and it'll carry over when they become a full co-emperor. As a child, this won't have much of an impact. Later on, he'll obviously actually start to have powers himself. This is a risk. I have no clue what Georgios may actually do with those powers himself, but it should help bridge that gap in terms of people seeing him as the new emperor. We don't have enough prestige for this currently. It is something we will look into in the future, though. Next up is going to be making sure that our vassals are actually doing what we want them to do. This will include making sure that they have the correct administration type, if you want them to be balanced, frontier, naval, and so on. Similarly, we'll want to make sure they have the correct vassal directives. We want them to boost men at arms, convert faith, culture, or build certain buildings. I'm going to go down through this list with the joyous task of micromanaging each of these vassals now. Rather than go through each one, I will explain what my logic behind it will be. First of all, we have Strategos Alexandros here. This is actually the son of the emperor we just killed. Not a big fan of us and from a powerful family. In this case, I am actually going to transition him over to being a civilian administration. This is really just so that I can actually reduce the number of men at arms that he has. He can build up the theme as much as he wants and get as much gold as he wants for himself and me, but just trying to really hit him where it hurts from a military perspective. Over here, we have a governor who is actually our friend, and he is on the coast. Where possible, I will actually set the naval administration, less for any of the actual bonuses and whatnot, although they are nice, and more for the summon to war interaction, which allows me to request him to go to war for a foreign duchy tier title. This will be very important. It'll save me from having to mobilize the entire realm just to take a duchy or county. Where possible, I can have my vassals do it for me. We also have the ability to create some more duchies and turn them into themes. So over here, for example, where we've taken some land, there isn't actually an existing duchy title. I am going to create one. This will help us get some more prestige to elevate a co-emperor as well. We currently hold this. We're going to grant this to somebody else, though. We'll give it to a vassal who currently exists within there. There you go, my friend. You are now a governor. And here what I'm actually going to do is modify the administration type and make it a frontier. This gives defender advantage, more attrition, and more fort level. And we can also summon these themes to war as well. I am going to certainly modify this person to be a frontier administration, and we'll likely do this around the borders of our empire as we expand. Once we go past the borders of that theme, we'll put them back to normal. But in the meantime, we want to make sure that anybody who wants to invade us has to get through those frontier admins. Next up, it's time to deal with our factions. This is the one that I am most concerned about. This one is gaining some traction. They're at 59 discontent. They can send an ultimatum in 7 months. The Liberty faction is also ready. They want to lower the imperial bureaucracy, which if we look is over here. Currently we're on limited, so that is plus 100 vassal limit. They all take a bit of a hit. We get some more tax. We can change succession laws. We can revoke titles and things. They want to send it back to 1, which is simply that vassals cannot be inherited by characters outside of the realm. I don't hate if we have to get back to that. Happy to push it up later when we're more stable, but we definitely want to deal with this claimant faction. To try and deal with this faction, the first thing I'm going to do is target these 2 men here. These are both heads of powerful families. If we could get some alliances going with these men, it could benefit us from them leaving this faction currently, and in the future having an alliance with other powerful families. We do have a favor hook on this man. Let's see if we can make something happen. Our youngest daughter, Menza, here is 5. His youngest son has just been born. He will accept this alliance, which we will happily take for our daughter. We're going to send this proposal. This should give us an alliance with a powerful family and kick him out of the faction. Perfect. With that, he's left the faction and they are now too weak to send an ultimatum. I do want to see if I can get an alliance with the other head of powerful family as well. So it looks like we can actually have our other son, Martin, here marry off this man's daughter for an alliance. We'll send this one as well. Perfect. They are now even weaker when it comes to sending an ultimatum. All that's really left are 2 counts, the man who hates us and this person here, who is a governor but was forced to join the faction. I'm happy with this though. We can let this lie for now. So I've also reworked my council here. We're going to have our head of faith as our chancellor. I'd like to have him as our patriarch, but we can't make that happen. Our steward is our friend, decent in stewardship and a head of a powerful family. We have another head of a powerful family here in our marshal who actually dislikes us. Hopefully we can actually sway him into our good books. The one role we will never change for politics, though, is our spy master. We want to keep this somebody we trust and somebody with super high intrigue, because this could be our downfall. I'm also going to start handing out a bunch of other court positions. If we can find people who actually hold positions of power, even better. Anything we can do to make some people like us more would be great, and we'll also happily take all the bonuses we get from having these filled out. Now, with all that done, let's actually hold court and see what's going on. Exotic gifts. Somebody wants to give us a giraffe for control, growth, and grandeur bonus. That is very nice. I think I will actually just take the base gold at the moment, though. We have a nice bit of income now. I want to really bolster up the gold, build out the army, and get the infrastructure in place. Now, our daughter Philippa, who was instrumental in the plot for us to actually gain control of the Byzantine Empire, can of course remarry. We could marry her to the king of Great Moravia, but I actually prefer this alliance with the Serene Doge of Venice. Very nice indeed. Don't worry about the fact she has lover's pox. I'm sure that won't be an issue to you, my friend. There we go. Let's also actually make sure that we get our artifacts into our court. We have a lot of very unique ones, including the Crown of Justinian. How fitting. We are being tempted here to embrace a heresy and become iconoclast. Definitely not. We will not relent to this heresy. If you're interested in heresy, though, check out the RimWorld series. Interestingly, we also have the ability to start a legend, Roman Heritage. Now, I'm not going to do this yet. I'm going to wait until possibly my son takes over. But at Mythical, not only do we get all the other bonuses that we typically get, we can then select a heritage and language from the legendary culture when we diverge it, and critically get a claim on every existing de jure title inside the Roman Empire. This is the first time we've seen in-game the title that we are trying to create appear. This will be instrumental to our goal, but we are not quite ready yet. Now, we have the influence and the prestige, so I am going to elevate Georgios here to be my nominal co-emperor, and I'm also going to give him a major contribution, which puts him up into second, very close behind the man who is still desperate to get his hand on the throne here. But with just one contribution, he is almost first in line. Now, I am going to rework the Byzantine army a bit. We do have cataphractoi here, which is very, very nice. We also have them in Thrace. Ideally, I want to spread out the men-at-arms so we have a bit of everything, and a nice mix to our actual army setup. For now, though, I am probably going to put in some armored footmen. We are lacking on the heavy infantry at the moment, and I do want to build out our army here so that we can sustain more factions and they won't fire as quick because they'll just reach our level of strength. Interestingly, we're also going to start getting some of these asks. In this case, he wants some troops, and it will mean that this governor will transfer his army to a different location under this governor's command. Happy to accept this. If you need more men, feel free to go for it. We can also reassign them manually inside of here. Not going to mess around with this too much for now, though. And look at this. Already our son is swinging the scales of power towards himself. But he is also now first in line. Not by much, though. I may even use some of my influence to actually give this man another debuff here. Have a medium deduction there, please. We want to keep this gap nice and big so we don't get any surprises when we die. Look at the amount of gold we get just from holding the county of Byzantium. This is extremely nice. I'm also happy to actually invest in Constantinople now that we know that we won't be moving. However, I am going to hold on to my gold just a little bit longer to make sure that we don't neglect the estate. I have another learning perk here. I will take Iron Constitution for the massive boost to health, just so we don't suddenly drop dead. Oh, and look at this, another son, amazing. Thomas it is, may you go strong and wise, and he now gains Born in the Purple because he was born to prominent parents, a rich life, and high expectations. What we are also going to get are asks like this one. In this case, we have a vassal asking us if we will support her candidacy for the duchy or the theme of Athens. Now, we would gain some influence for this, but I'm going to decline it. She is already a governor. If we accept this and don't pay attention to who we're giving it to, we can very easily and inadvertently start creating powerful families left, right, and center. Now, there is an argument here that if we support powerful families on their way up, they're likely going to like us a lot more than the existing powerful families, so we just disrupted the whole status quo. I'm not ready to really mess with this, though. For now, I'm going to decline. Oh, and I've just realized that we cannot get to the manor yet because we need city planning. This far, I've kind of just assumed that we had every innovation because the Byzantines are usually so far ahead. City planning we actually don't have yet, though, but we will have in about 3 years. Something else I'll need to pay attention to is over here, I've just created a new theme, but if I was to just give it to this man right now, it would still be feudal. His government type is still feudal. So I am actually going to have to force him to take on administrative governance. I will pay him some gold. He is likely to accept already, but I can offer house appointment, which just basically means that for the next 100 years, his house will get a buff to essentially being the governors of this land. Happy to do that for the sake of keeping everything admin. It was 100%. What do you mean he refuses? It was 100%. Fair enough, I'll just give it to this person over here who already hates me anyway. There you go. Alright, so I've spent some gold here forming some other themes and granting them to people. It kind of works out. It helps centralize the realm and they like us quite a bit more. It also means that we have to worry less about some of the other powerful families getting their fingers in there, messing around and making themselves even more powerful. I want to make sure that no family is ever extremely powerful. Obviously, some will end up holding 1 or 2 themes. That's fine. We'll keep an eye on those. The rest I want to keep separate, powerful in their own little theme, but never so powerful to challenge me. Now, we also have the ability to vassalize somebody here in Sirmia. Now, they're actually quite big. I definitely want them. They won't accept normal. We could spend influence to increase their acceptance, or we just bring them in on low obligations. Now, I think if I bring them in on low, and then I force him to become admin, I don't think the feudal vassal contract even matters. So I'm going to start him on low. Alright, so he accepted, which is great. Next, I want to make sure that I demand admin. 44%. I'll give you house preference. That takes us to 94. And then I could spend influence to take him to 100. I mean, the last guy was 100 and still didn't accept. Surely you will, though. Here we go. Let's go. Okay, look at this. He can understand my eagerness to bring his lands under the administration, but he would appreciate if his grace in the matter were remembered. The only way he will accept is if he gets a weak favor hook on me. That's fine. You know what? You can take a weak favor hook on me. I don't like handing them out left, right, and center, but for the size in which you've just grown our lands and your willingness to be admin, happy to do that for you, my friend. We have 3 others willing to be vassalized, which I am happy to do. I want to save up a bit of gold so I can make sure that I can make them admin. They're kind of all located around here. Happy to take them. I would ideally not like to border the Holy Roman Empire yet, though. How have they done this? How have they done this? It wasn't even a thing when I started this game, and somehow they've just gone, oh, he's a conqueror. That explains it, never mind. I assume Scandinavia is as well. Yep, just absolutely taken the place by storm. Okay, well, hopefully when these men die, their sons won't get the conqueror trait, and then it should fall apart, which will be perfect time for us to strike. Similarly, We'll want to keep some eyes on the Abbasids over here. Whenever they're weak, I mean, they're actually pretty weak right now. We'll want to make sure that we actually go to war with them, because a lot of the land we need is along the coast here as well. So basically, we can allow other governors to wear purple, and they will pay us and we'll gain some influence. They will gain influence and general opinion from having purchased it, and their score goes up, or the purple cannot be bought. Too right, the purple cannot be bought. We worked way too hard just to sell it. Now, the theme of Dyrrhachion here, again, forget the pronunciation, it's in a bit of a weird place. It's currently being held by a melancholic, incapable, excommunicated drunkard who also is a known criminal. Now, I would definitely like to revoke this appointment. He won't accept, though, so it would mean that some form of rebellion. Now, I'm happy to deal with him, but I'm not sure who else may rise up against us, especially since we already have some disgruntled factions here. I don't want to inadvertently trigger them. What I will do, though, is I'm going to force his retirement, because look who's the primary heir? My grandson. There we go. Let's get him retired. And now, when we look at Dyrrhachion, it's none other than our grandson. There we go. So with our grandson on the throne there, that takes our house score up to 154, which is very nice. Currently, no dominant families, which is great to see. The next powerful family in line, though, is super powerful. They're only 4 points off of being equal to us, without even being the emperor. It's mainly two brothers. The house head here controls Epirus, and then his brother controls the Aegean Islands. And it's his brother who keeps popping up in a faction to try and put himself on the throne as well. I have started an ingratiate family scheme on this man here. He is the head of the second most powerful family in the empire. No harm to try and make sure that we are building up some friends while we deal with our enemies. One of our vassals has come to us saying that it is prophecy for him to be the next governor of Thessaly. Not sure about that. We can say we can't disregard it. He will get some score and we'll get a favor hook on him. We could say that we won't entertain the signs, but we get quite a bit of debuffs. Or we can say your value should be proved with deeds and not dreams. We're definitely going to go with this one. Nobody's going to be winning us over because of prophecy. Now, another opportunity has presented itself. If we look at the Aegean Islands, which remember, this man is the brother to the first after me most powerful family in the Byzantine Empire. Look who's in line again. If it isn't our other grandson. When we get enough influence, we can simply retire this governor and our family will gain control of the Aegean Islands. Somehow, the marriages I've pulled off without even trying have placed my family in such perfect position for these governorships. And we have another son, Simeon here. Welcome to the family. Oh, and look at this. There is more movement in the order of succession. Our son has fallen into second place again. That's alright though. I'm going to let my influence build up and then we should be able to invest our way out of this. For now though, I am actually going to mentor my son in governance. If the scheme is successful, we'll gain influence and a small amount of trait experience and opinion. Decision available. Consolidate rule. Ask your head of faith to reiterate your claim to the throne. After all, you are their biggest patron, and we will gain either plus 25% legitimacy gain or 200 legitimacy up front. Today, we thank God for having such a kind protector watching over us. May his reign be long and prosperous too. Right. So we can choose between the increased growth or just the upfront. We'll take the upfront. We are already at... Oh no, we're not. We're not at 5. We're only at 4. We'll take it upfront though. We don't think we'll live too much longer to really get the most out of the increased percentage. So we'll take the upfront. One of our governors wants to be confirmed, arrange the ceremony. We will happily take her in. We're not going to snub our governors the way the previous emperor did to us. And very nicely, we also gain some influence and prestige out of this, as well as some renown. Happy days. Okay, our ingratiate family scheme has been a success, so we gained the monthly influence and a friendship with this governor. Nominal co-emperor is now more powerful. Oh boy. So interestingly, this is not like when you actually have a regent in a feudal realm. If we look at the scales of power here, they're actually bonuses to him. He's currently at level 2, and on becoming an adult, gains +2 skill aligned with his education and +1 to 2 other skills. So it's actually in our favor for him to actually gain power here. We can also just cede our authority voluntarily and just help swing this even further down. If we realize that we are dying or something happens and we're confident we're going to die soon, I'd be more than happy to do that and basically just buff our son. We have another learning perk, so I'm going to take restraint here. Possibly we'll even embrace celibacy. What I really want to get to is know thyself though. If we know we're dead in a year, we can go all in and use all of our influence and everything to just buff our son up as much as possible and give him the best position. Something else I may want to look at is actually founding the Varangian Guard. This gives us a new court position and Varangian Guard men-at-arms. Now, one of our realm counties being Norse seems unlikely, but being able to get 5 courtiers who are Norse is something we should definitely be able to do. This should help us even further boost our actual army at the moment. I have built out the army of the Empire with a nice spread of different men-at-arms types here, but being able to even dedicate, say, Achaea or Thrace, or possibly even put them into the Empire army themselves, some actual Varangian Guard, could be a severe way to boost our actual potential when it comes to war. Now, we finished mentoring our son. We've gained some influence, he's gained some opinion, he's already gained the governor traits, and he's gained mentored governance, which is what? +1 stewardship and some monthly influence. Very nice. I'm also going to give him another major contribution, which puts him back in first place. There's only really one person who could possibly challenge him now, which is this man here in second, so it is time to slander him. There we go, and just with auto-invite we get to 95%. People are lining up to slander this man. Interesting, so the capital is under strain, and we can either take imperial strain and lose holding, taxes, development, growth, and popular opinion, or we can bring men in from different provinces, giving the actual theme debuffs, but it means that the capital won't suffer. Unfortunately, Achaea must make sacrifices. Okay, we can fire our scheme to slander this man. Let's seize the moment. It's been a while since we've done a scheme, actually. And we are successful. He has gained slandered. If we look at the succession now, there is close to 100 points difference between first and second. Very nice. Things looking good for little Georgios here. Speaking of schemes, the existence of the damage the legitimacy of Basilius Justinian is exposed. We must stop that immediately. Now, thankfully, because we found that it should be already a pretty big debuff to it. Even if that comes off, though, I'm not too concerned about my legitimacy at the moment. Interesting. So the man, if you remember over here, that got a weak favor hook on us to actually become administrative, has used his hook to become our spy master. I don't hate it. 17 intrigue is not terrible. I do want to make sure that I keep him in the good books, though. I may even sway him just to make sure, since he can't be fired, I at least want my spy master to like us. Okay, so a good day all round. We have managed to extend our borders out and get more vassals into the actual admin government stance, which is great to see. We've also managed to build out the actual army, so we're quite a bit stronger than we were before. Gold is looking fantastic. We're still using our influence, but things are working in that regard. We have our son, who is first in line, with a decent gap to second place. We'll need to keep an eye on it, though. When we die, Georgios should be in prime position to pick up the mantle from there and actually start going to war and really expanding out the empire. But overall, I would say our big task of actually consolidating things, getting things back under control since assuming power has been successful. In the future, with Justinian and Georgios, we'll continue to expand outwards and begin phase 2 of our plan to build out the Byzantines and restore the Roman Empire. Thank you all so much for watching this episode. If you enjoyed, don't forget to like and subscribe. Feel free to comment any suggestions, tips, or whatever the hell else you like, and I will see you all in the next video.